There's a magnesium glycinate mistake I keep seeing adults over 60 make, and I'm going to save you some time by giving you the answer right now. If you're taking magnesium glycinate with Bran cereal every morning, stop doing that. That's the food. That's the answer to the title. But before you click away thinking you've got everything you need, Bran cereal is actually one of the most common practical examples of a much bigger issue. Understanding that issue may help you get more value from a supplement you're already spending money on. The reason Bran cereal matters has nothing to do with it being unhealthy. In fact, Bran cereal is often recommended because of its fiber content and digestive benefits. The issue is that wheat bran is rich in compounds called phytates, and phytates can bind to minerals like magnesium in the digestive tract. Now, if that happens, your body may absorb less magnesium than it otherwise would. So, the concern isn't that Bran cereal is harmful. The concern is that you may be taking a supplement every day and not getting as much benefit from it as you expected. Now, before anyone panics and throws out a perfectly good box of cereal, let's put this in perspective. This is not a safety warning. This is not a toxicity warning. This is not one of those internet health scares where a normal food suddenly becomes dangerous overnight. Based on current evidence, Bran cereal, other high fiber whole grains remain part of many health eating patterns. What we're talking about is optimization. If you're taking magnesium glycinate because you want better sleep, fewer muscle cramps, or simply because you want to maintain healthier magnesium levels, it makes sense to take it under conditions that may help absorption rather than reduce it. What's interesting is that most people aren't even asking this question. They're asking whether they bought the right brand. They're asking whether magnesium glycinate is better than magnesium citrate. They're asking whether they need a larger dose. After reviewing the evidence, I became convinced that many people are focusing on the wrong thing. The real question is whether you're taking it in a way that allows your body to make the best use of it. Magnesium has become one of the most commonly used supplements among older adults, and it's easy to understand why. Magnesium plays a role in hundreds of biological processes, including muscle function, nerve signaling, blood pressure regulation, and energy production. Many people take magnesium glycinate because it's generally well tolerated and easier on the digestive system than some other forms. Others take it because they're hoping it may support better sleep, relaxation, or muscle function. Regardless of the reason, most people assume that once they swallow the capsule, the job is done. Unfortunately, absorption doesn't work that way. Your digestive system is constantly dealing with interactions between foods, nutrients, and supplements. Sometimes those interactions are beneficial, sometimes they're neutral, and sometimes they can reduce the absorption of certain nutrients. That's where Bran cereal enters the picture. Bran cereal is one of the most common practical examples because wheat bran is especially rich in phytates. Phytates are naturally occurring compounds found in bran, whole grains, legumes, seeds, and nuts. Researchers have known for a long time that phytates can reduce the absorption of minerals such as magnesium, zinc, iron, and calcium. That's not controversial. What's important to understand is that this evidence comes primarily from research on phytates and mineral absorption in general, not from a large clinical trial specifically testing Bran cereal and magnesium glycinate together at breakfast. Here's where it gets interesting. Bran cereal isn't unique. Certain legumes, seeds, nuts, and other high phytate foods may create similar challenges under the right circumstances. Some foods that are incredibly healthy overall can still affect the absorption of specific nutrients. Both things can be true at the same time. That's why I don't want anyone leaving this video thinking they've discovered a dangerous food. The lesson isn't that Bran cereal is bad. The lesson is that timing may matter more than most people realize. And because I know some viewers appreciate direct answers, let me answer the title question completely. Should you stop taking magnesium glycinate after 60 if you eat Bran cereal? For most otherwise healthy adults, the answer is no. You should not. You should stop taking magnesium glycinate with Bran cereal. That's a very different statement. Based on current evidence, there is no reason for most people to abandon magnesium glycinate together simply because they eat Bran cereal. I'm Marcus, a research scientist with over 25 years of experience, and you're watching Health Sense or Nonsense, where I dig through the studies, and journals and break everything down into plain English so you don't have to. One thing I noticed while researching this topic is how often health information gets turned into extreme roles. People hear one fact and immediately jump to a dramatic conclusion. Real life is rarely that simple. Good health usually comes from understanding context rather than memorizing lists of food to fear. Here's a question I found myself asking while reviewing the literature. How do you know whether any of this actually applies to you? After all, many people eat Bran cereal and take magnesium glycinate without ever thinking about timing. That's true. The answer isn't whether you eat Bran cereal. The answer is whether you're seeing the benefits you expected from your magnesium supplement. Maybe you start taking magnesium glycinate because you hoped it would support better sleep, but weeks later, nothing seems different. Maybe you were hoping it would help with occasional muscle cramps, yet you're still dealing with the same problem. Maybe you're taking it because you heard magnesium is important, but if someone asked whether it was helping, you'd honestly have no idea. Or maybe you felt a benefit at first, and now you're wondering why it doesn't seem to be working the way it used to. Those are the situations where timing becomes worth examining. One thing I noticed while digging through the research is that people often assume supplements work in an all or nothing way. Either the supplement works or it doesn't. Real life is usually more complicated than that. Sometimes a supplement is helping, but not as much as it could. Sometimes the issue isn't the brand. Sometimes the issue is simply that you're taking it under conditions that aren't ideal for absorption. And that's where a lot of people get frustrated. They increase the dose. They buy a more expensive bottle. They switch brands 3 times. Before long, they spend far more money than they've ever planned to spend. Yet, they're still wondering why they're not getting the result they expected. Meanwhile, nobody stopped to ask whether the original supplement was being taken at the right time in the first place. A practical experiment you can try is remarkably simple. Keep everything else the same for 2 to 4 weeks. Don't switch brands. Don't double your dose. Don't add 3 new supplements because somebody on the internet promised you'll feel 20 years younger by next Tuesday. Simply separate your magnesium glycinate from your highest brand meal by about 2 or 3 hours and see what happens. This is kind of boring advice that rarely goes viral because it isn't dramatic. There's no miracle cure involved. There's no secret ingredient. There's no expensive supplement stack. It's simply a small adjustment that may help you determine whether timing has been affecting the results you hope to get from magnesium in the first place. Quick disclaimer here. This video is for educational purposes and isn't personal medical advice. If you have kidney disease, significant medical conditions, or take medications that may interact with supplements, talk with your personal health care provider before making changes to your routine. That's especially important if you're taking multiple medications or you've been told your kidney function isn't what it used to be. Context always matters more than internet advice. If you're finding this useful, please hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel tremendously, and it helps more people find evidence-based information instead of fear-based clickbait. I spent hours going through the studies and research summaries on this topic so you don't have to. The journal links and sources are linked in the description below if you'd like to review them yourself. And that breathing room doesn't have to be complicated. For many people, taking magnesium glycinate later in the day is enough. If you eat Bran cereal at breakfast, consider taking magnesium with lunch, dinner, or in the evening. A separation of 2 to 3 hours is often suggested as a practical strategy that may help optimize absorption. It's simple. It's easy to test and doesn't require changing your entire lifestyle. After reviewing the studies, I came to a simple conclusion. This isn't a reason to fear magnesium glycinate or Bran cereal. It's a reason to pay attention to timing. That's the conclusion that best fits the evidence. Now, there is one thing I don't want people misunderstanding. If you've been eating Bran cereal and taking magnesium glycinate together for years, that doesn't automatically mean you've wasted years of supplementation. Human nutrition isn't that black and white. The point is simply that if you're not getting the benefits you expected, timing is one of the easiest variables to investigate before spending more money or making your routine more complicated. So what should you actually do starting today? First, don't panic and throw away your cereal. Second, don't stop taking magnesium glycinate if it's helping you and your healthcare provider believes it's appropriate. Third, separate magnesium glycinate from Bran cereal and other very high phytate meals by about 2 to 3 hours when practical. Fourth, give that change enough time to determine whether it makes a meaningful difference for you. The bigger lesson is that healthy foods and healthy supplements don't always work in isolation. Sometimes they interact in ways people don't expect. Understanding those interactions can be more valuable than buying another supplement or chasing the latest health trend. Some adjustments often produce more useful results than dramatic changes. One final disclaimer before we wrap it up. If you have kidney disease, significant health conditions, or take multiple medications, always discuss supplement use with your healthcare provider because your situation may be different from someone else's. This video is intended for educational and general information, not individual medical advice. The goal is to help you have a more informed conversation with your personal healthcare provider, not replace professional care. I'm Marcus, and this is Health Sense or Nonsense. After reviewing the evidence, my conclusion is straightforward. Don't fear Bran cereal. Don't fear magnesium glycinate. Just don't take them together and assume timing couldn't matter. For most otherwise healthy adults, a simple adjustment may be all that's needed to help optimize absorption and avoid wasting effort on supplement routine that isn't working as well as it could. Wellness Watchdog out.